everyone to today's event. Our event today is on entrepreneurship journey and building ChatKJV, featuring Andrew Miracle.
Everyone to today's event.
Allow me, sorry about that.
Our event today is
just click. Sorry. Yeah. So during the event, please feel free to tweet and share your comments, any questions, or invite other people to be part of the conversation using these handles at ChatKJV, at AI Kenya, hashtag ChatKJV, hashtag AI Kenya, hashtag mawAidha. So mawAidha sessions is a type of event that we came up with about 3 years ago. The main goal was to invite industry leaders to give advice and counsel on different technology topics that revolve around or are closely related to artificial intelligence. The inspiration for the name, mawAidha, is a Swahili word that means advice or counsel, or to give good advice or counsel to someone. So through that, that's the same thing we are trying to do, to get advice from people who have done it or people who are excelling in what they do to the generation that is also trying to build and improve their solutions. So our first event for mawAidha was in March 2020, 4th March 2020. It was a physical event. This was way before COVID. And then after COVID, we are doing most of our events online. So briefly about AI Kenya, we are a community of practitioners and enthusiasts in artificial intelligence and its related technologies. We started in October 2017. We come together to engage, learn, grow, and stay informed on all aspects AI and closely related technologies and topics. So when you say AI and its related technologies, we have data analysis, data science, machine learning, data visualization, robotics, and data engineering. From time to time, we also dive into non-technical topics such as data privacy, data protection, AI ethics, which is such a big talk right now, and so on. So we're a community for both techies and non-techies. So actually for today's event, we're inviting everyone, whether you're a techie or non-techie, there's something you can learn from today's event, whether it's how you can start your entrepreneurship journey, how you can evolve your entrepreneurship journey, or what points can you pick from the experience that Andrew has had in building ChatKJV and apply it in your project or whatever venture you're working on. So we exist to democratize machine intelligence. That means we want to make it accessible to everyone. And we see ourselves as an enabler and ecosystem builder in the Kenyan tech industry, specifically in matters artificial intelligence. We achieved this by having different programs or different core frameworks that we focus on. That is, number one, making sure people are learning, growing, engaging, and staying informed. In terms of learning, we have a mix of different monthly events, from hands-on workshops like Code Maktaba. We have show and tells, mawAidha sessions, the one we're having today. We have data science hackathons and documentary screening. So all these are combination that allows both the technical and non-technical audience to participate in based on what they need. In terms of growing, we currently have the most up-to-date and the biggest repository of opportunities. This is jobs, internships, scholarship opportunities centered around data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in general. So we update opportunities on our website on a weekly basis. So we have so many people who've gotten internships, jobs, or consulting opportunities just from visiting the website and being able to be informed. In terms of engaging, we have different engaging platforms. We have a Slack group. We have a WhatsApp group, we have a Telegram group, we have a Facebook group, where we allow community members to come together and just talk to each other and share ideas. In terms of staying informed, we always make a point of making sure that our community stays informed on the latest developments in the AI space. So we've launched a newsletter We have a YouTube page that we constantly update with different content, such as business interviews, event videos, podcast episodes, and so on. Yeah, so spotlights on today's topic is conversational AI. We are focusing on ChatKJV. So the first time I heard about ChatKJV was on Twitter. People are talking about this version of ChatGPT that was centered around having conversations centered around the Bible, and I really found it interesting. And I made it a mission to find out who had created this and invite them to the event. So it's good that Andrew is here today. So we'll majorly focus on the journey to the solution. So there's a past journey in terms of entrepreneurship and trying to build different technology solutions that led to this. I will also look at the impact of the chatbot and then scaling and advancing the solution. So this is a solution that touches on topics such as depression, mental health, and so on. So I hope even after the speaker is done, we can see what interesting questions people have around that. For questions for today's events, we will have two ways of doing it. So we'll invite the speaker to just give his talk for about 30 to 40 minutes based on how long he has prepared. And after he's done, you'll be able to raise your hand through Zoom, or you can also visit slido.com. It's a question and answering platform, and you'll enter the code AIK27, and you'll be able to post and upvote questions from other people who are participating in this event. So we always have this in case we hit the capacity of attendees on Zoom, and not everyone is able to ask a question through Zoom, so we can use Slido. So good, and I think now it's time for Andrew to take the stage. So Andrew, I'll just stop sharing my screen and you can have the stage for now. Welcome.
Yeah, I was going to complain
I can hear you.
that I needed share assets. Okay, great. Are
you sharing your screen now?
Yes, I am going to be sharing my screen now.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I wanted to first of all say like a big thank you to the organizers for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone of you guys. So yes, before I proceed, just let me say that. Thank you. I'll go ahead to share my screen now. Just needs to be. Yes. Perfect. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Andrew Miracle, and I'm the creator of ChatKJV, as Alfred had mentioned, and among a lot of things. I will take you through my journey, but before I go ahead, I would like to share an inspiring story with you. You guys, it's a story that is anchored on determination and the power of embracing our uniqueness. And I'm talking about the story of InstaDeep. Now, the InstaDeep founders, in the year 2014, this was in Tunisia, the InstaDeep founders, Karim and Zora, had met, and they just had $2,000 and 2 laptops. And they had a passion for technology. They had diverse backgrounds. Karim has been a trained engineer from Paris, and Zora was a self-taught programmer with a knack for languages. So together, they decided that they were going to build something special. Now, you see, initially, InstaDeep started out as a web agency. They were creating websites and designing flyers for various clients. I'm sure so many of us can relate to that. But Karim realized that AI was the future, and he set out to rebrand himself as an AI expert. The company pivoted, right? And they moved into AI consulting. And from an agency, they became this like AI expertise for building localized AI solutions in the market. Zora focused on the web-facing side. Karim did a lot of the back-end work. In 2018, they wrote a paper that, like went viral and got them attention and reputation in the space. And today, InstaDeep, as at 2023, is Africa's biggest acquisition. From that small step in 2014 to 2023, InstaDeep has been acquired by BioNTech for $680 million US. Now, the thing that makes the InstaDeep story very, very profound is how it defies the typical startup narrative, because there is a regular VC startup narrative that has been pushed down to the continent. But then theirs is such a unique one that, has innovation at the heart of it, persistence, and a relentless focus on solving problems. Now, this story resonates with me personally because I too have faced challenges in my own entrepreneurial journey. Just like Karim and Zora, I started small with very limited resources, learning and experimenting with technology as I grew up. Many of you know me, some of you don't, but my name is Andrew Miracle, and I am the head of ventures at TechMe. I'm also the creator of ChatKJV, and you can find me on my website on andrewmiracle.com, where I talk about anything, or hang out with me on Twitter at Salzy. My story, like I told you, is one that started out pretty early. You see, like back in 2013, when internet used to be like 500 MB for a month, I used to disturb my parents in a family-owned cyber cafe, right? We had this family-owned cyber cafe where I would work for clients and do a lot of things, and would write emails, but it wasn't always easy, because I recall my parents would subscribe 500 megabytes, and I will finish about 200 megabytes browsing. And 500 megabytes right now seems like very small, but back then, like, it was the backbone of the whole business, and websites really didn't have a lot of JavaScript, no shade on JavaScript. But it was fascinating for me because I got to explore the internet and learn immensely from a lot of forums. There was nothing I couldn't do on a Java Symbian device as of back then. But then in the month of April 2013, one of our regular customers, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Lawrence is in his late 60s. And this time around, Mr. Lawrence does not want to check his email because he usually checks out Yahoo Mail. No, Mr. Lawrence wants a website. So I say to Mr. Lawrence, we don't do websites, right? You know what? Check back in a week. I'll ask around and I'll find out if we have someone who can do a website for you. Then next week, Mr. Lawrence comes, and the week after that, and it dawned on me, Mr. Lawrence really needs a website. And you know what? I said, you know what? I have no prior experience building websites or anything, but I'm willing to give this a shot, right? I'm willing to take a stab at this. And so he tells me how much the website is, he's going to pay for the website. The equivalent is somewhere around $350. And I tell him, okay, 60 days, $350 equivalent, and I will design your website. In 60 days, I managed to design his website, a combination of Dreamweaver, HTML, and some PHP for the forms. So website design, we move forward. And one of the goals amongst the many wonderful things I wanted to do with the $350 was to register a domain name. And I had been obsessing about a particular name, right? It was TechMe, TECHME, right? I've been obsessing about this name and I search for it on GoDaddy every morning. And so finally I get paid and I want to register this domain name. Turns out the domain has been bought and someone is selling it for $150. And so it was a little misfortune, right? But this small misfortune led to the acquisition of the name TECMIE for TechMe. Now, it may sound like a misfortune, but very little did I know that this minor incident would later inspire the creation of ChatKJV as we know it today. And over the years, I have honed my skills. Particularly in my tech journey, I am very grateful to a lot of individuals and companies. I did the mawAidha school track to hone my skills. I worked in Sandbox YC, a Nigerian logistics company, which was my first startup experience. And then I moved on to the MEST program, which is how I built expertise in entrepreneurship. Now, throughout my entrepreneurial journey, I've been committed to learning and embracing new opportunities. And this is one of the things that has been pivotal to my success. Now, I mentioned these three companies because I did have a first stage of what my career was as a very, very technical person. But recently, as in 2018, when I decided to transition from leadership, from technology into leadership, all of that had to change, and I had to rethink how I was doing things. In retrospect, I believe mawAidha School gave me the first principles for software engineering that I used and built upon. Sandbox introduced me to the startup world, and MEST broke it down for me in a way that everything now I had like this 360 view of the entire technology ecosystem. It was also during the MEST program that I founded Africathon. Now, Africathon was a Pan-African event, which involved about 22 individuals across 22 countries across the continent. And it was a 1-week event, and we had so many innovative programs that we did. And this was also during the period where I did a lot of innovation projects. After the MEST program, I also founded KPI Lens, which is data analytics startup. And KPI Lens is an impact data analytics startup. We received VC funding for the project. And everything was fine and good until 2022. Now, in 2022, I had this realization. COVID had hit the world, and we were getting onboarded into like this digital transformation that was happening. It felt like there was not a better time where Africa was ripe for technology, and this was the time, right? So as at 2022 January, I reinstalled the TechMe team with a new vision, one that was very highly experimental and research-driven. At the time, we did not have a name for it. We did not know what we wanted to do, but we were sure that, okay, we want to do this thing. We know we look at the market, we research a lot, and we try out and experiment with as many products as possible. Later on, we find out that there is actually a name for it, right? There is a name for this whole thing. It's called a startup studio. And this startup studio built out so many products. We had follow-up, we had Dakred, which is a blockchain project, and so many other innovative products. So at the heart of TechMe is this unwavering belief like in the transformative power of collaboration and teamwork. And what we did was we tried to bring the brightest minds that I have come in contact with and, across the continent to be able to foster like an environment where, experiment on this new idea, test it out, and see how it goes. And that's essentially, everything about TechMe. Now, it was all interesting until November 2023. So as of November 2023, something remarkable happened. OpenAI released a new product called ChatGPT. Some of us are familiar with it, some of us are not. However, before ChatGPT, something else happened. You see, I had this friend, Julie, and we had like this delightful dinner at a bustling restaurant in Nairobi. And we were on our way back for her to drop me off at my place. And then she suddenly realized that her phone was not in her pockets. And she was scared because it's like, oh, my phones are not here. They're not in the car. They're not here. So where are they? She left her phone behind on the table where we had the meal. Maybe the food was too good, too sweet for her to have forgotten her device. But our hearts were pounding and we were like, okay, where is your phone? And I dial her number and there is no answer. Like you're calling the number, nobody's picking up. And so we are desperate to find, her phone, and we have to like go back to the places we went to. And with each passing moment, we couldn't help but wonder, like, are we going to find our phone again? Like, this is Nairobi. We were in Nairobi and like, are you going to find the phone again? But the good news is we found our phone. And it was good news because we also met someone interesting. A young man named Abner. He was with the phone, he has seen it and he was waiting, and he held the phone like in his hand and was saying, when the owner comes, I'll give the phone to the person and I won't pick the calls. And Abner was cool. So we were like, you know what, let's celebrate. And in order to celebrate, I invited them to a Nigerian restaurant where we can try pepper soup. Now, pepper soup, if you don't know about it, is a very, very spicy meal. And Abner wasn't familiar with what it was. So when they asked him spicy or spicy, he said spicy, spicy. Now, this story is important because at the heat of that moment, with all of that spice, I got invited to an RSVP only event that was sponsored by the mawAidha network at the time. And when I got invited to that event, I had sent my name and the name of our company to be RSVP'd, right? But things weren't looking up because the next day it's like, oh, we have a tell me in our record, and here's your name tag for tell me. We don't have a tech me on our record. So it was like, okay, so bad news, good news, and then another bad news. Till now, I still blame the spicy food for this error because, like someone should have remembered to put a C instead of a T. But we did the mawAidha network event. It was amazing. However, there was a catch. So because someone has misspelled our name, throughout the intros, everyone was like, tell me, and I'll try to explain to them, no, it's tech me, and here's what we do. So without realizing, the first expression I was creating upon meeting an entirely new audience was correcting them for a mistake that had nothing to do with them. I had to read the room and advise myself. So I decided the next group I joined, I'll go with the flow. And I joined an interesting group, and the direction of the group took us around this wellness idea called Tell Me. So I started talking to new groups about Tell Me, right? A journal app. This journal app will build a persona for you, a younger, older version of you that you can talk with. And by essentially feeding this journal app with like information from your diary, you can learn. It can learn from you, and then it can recreate a younger or aged version of yourself. A lot of people there loved Tell Me that I did. They really, really loved it. And the one that most resonated with a lot of people was like, tell me for your inner circles. So imagine that you are no longer there, but you have like this version that could talk to your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, etc. So after the mixer, I went home. I opened my laptop to experiment with the idea, right? But first, I had to do it with my own diary. The first version of this I shared on LinkedIn. and it was interesting. I did get feedback, but there was a little challenge with it. Now, when I had shared this version, a lot of people liked it, but then even though it was captivating, it was exciting, we quickly realized that there was one key element missing, that my diary is not enough. As much as I love my diary, not everybody loves their diary or what they did in the past. And that's when it hits me that there has to be a reliable source of information that we can use to train a conversational AI avatar for chatbots. And it was right there looking at us all this while. See, why not use the Bible? The Bible that has been a timeless source of knowledge and guidance. And it has been cherished for over 2,000 years. So when I shared the tweet of ChatKJV, it was just about, when I shared the tweet of ChatKJV, it was just about natural for a lot of people to resonate with it. Sorry, I think I have. It was just about natural for a lot of people to resonate with it. So the tweet went viral and a lot of people loved the idea. A lot of people loved the idea to a point where ChatKJV was used by over 10,000 people in less than 5 days. And even till now, a lot of individuals still interact with ChatKJV daily. ChatKJV is a conversational AI app that you can ask questions about how you feel, and it would respond to you with a scripture as well as a short admonition on that scripture. And the success of ChatKJV was immense, like it was like through the roof. And I can give you a short demo of what that looks like. So this is the bot currently. It's a mobile first version. And I can say, you know what, I am anxious. And it would respond to you based on how you feel. And it's telling me, you know what, Philippians 4:7, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God which passes all understanding shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. God promises to protect and provide peace to those who trust in him. So have faith and let him carry your anxiety. So this is what it's telling me. So I have faith and let him handle my anxiety. Now, so when the tweet went viral, I had to build ChatKJV in 24 hours or thereabouts. And I'd like to highlight some of the technologies that were relevant to making this happen. Now, ChatKJV was built on top of OpenAI, TRPC, Next.js, TypeScript, Chakra UI. Because it's a progressive web application, it uses service workers and it uses a Postgres database to persist information. Building ChatKJV, the initial iteration of ChatKJV employed 2 distinct AI models. There was one that would essentially extrapolate whatever you say and just respond a scripture. And then we'll send it to the OpenAI query model that will then break down the scripture in conjunction with the user's inputs. However, this approach was not without its own shortcomings. And so as more and more individuals were engaging with ChatKJV, they posed a myriad of unconventional questions that demanded more structured approach to formulating the response. And, you know, these questions are as unconventional as can be. very unconventional. Some of them I can't say, but some things like also suicide, etc. And that was how we gave birth to the GPB framework. The realization of this led to GPB, which is an acronym for goals, purpose, and boundaries. This framework here provides a structure that is necessary to create a zero-shot prompt system that can be adaptable, and stay true to how we build out conversational chatbots. I can go over the GPB real quick in terms of how it works. And first, you have the goals, right? At the heart of the GPB framework is the goals. The goals facilitate what is going to be done, but the goals are the driving force. And in this image, I have this YAML that says intent, provide scripture and explanation. So in our GPB framework, we define our goals in the intent and says, offer a scripture from the King James and a brief explanation based on the user's inputs, such as their feelings or questions about people in the Bible. We have the purpose. The purpose is the underlying motivation that defines the why of ChatKJV. The purpose is like the compass that guides the AI into managing and engaging conversation with the users. And that purpose here is defined in the user assistance definition. Ensure the user receives helpful and enjoyable support by prioritizing user satisfaction and providing detailed evidence-based responses. And the final one is the boundary. But as an AI system, it's crucial to establish boundaries that prevent the system from delving from core objectives or producing irrelevant responses that are not in context. And so boundaries ensure that ChatKJV remains true to its mission while adapting to the diverse and ever-changing needs to its users. And so far, this has created the experience that we have in ChatKJV today, right? ChatKJV has experienced phenomenal growth, has a dedicated user base that appreciates what we've built, appreciates the platform's ability to enhance their understanding of the scripture, and the GPB framework, which is focused on purpose and adaptability, has helped us and has been instrumental to our success, especially when you compare ChatKJV with other Bible apps out there, Church AI, Bible GPT, Sermon Notes, etc. Our users have reported that their engagement with ChatKJV has led with more in-depth reflections on Bible passages, enabling them to grasp all of the nuances and complexities of the scripture, especially given how easy and free everything is. And this is a testament to the GPB. So in formulating it here, we have, a primary goal and a purpose. And, in constructor language, we have these goals and these purposes, and we can retrieve a goal and we can retrieve a purpose. So essentially, when a user makes a request and, we get the primary goal, the purpose, and the boundary, we have a collection of all of this that we can choose from. And there's a small shuffle method in each class that gives you one boundary at any given point in time. So when a user makes a request, the prompt is formulated as a chatbot with the primary goal. Your main purpose is to user purpose and then user with user input, and return the prompt template. And so when a user wants to make a request or sends a chat to ChatKJV, what we're essentially doing is goal, purpose, boundary with user inputs, and the prompt will generate an output for the individual. And so far, the future of ChatKJV looks bright. But there's been a lot of media recognition from reputable organizations. But also, most of the use cases, it's important that we highlight some of the use cases for ChatKJV. A lot of people just use it around doing life, general conversations, Christian living, and to deal with their emotions, as well as relationships, sexuality, and marriage. If we ask us what the reasons why people use ChatKJV, some of our assumptions are maybe clarity and advice, knowledge and the Bible, knowledge and encouragement, knowledge and clarity, or sometimes looking for encouragement and advice. There are updates that will be coming to ChatKJV in the coming days, and we can't wait to share them with you. We have learned from the kind of conversations users have, and some of the most recurring themes are the ones that I've already highlighted. So with this in mind, I think we'll be launching out new features like chat avatars, a token system for monetization, because at the moment, the platform is currently running on independent funds. And one exciting development that we are working on is the creation of a user-generated content platform where users can share their personal experiences, reflections, and insights from their interactions with ChatKJV. We believe that it can help us foster community, but it can also be, we also believe that, some of these features also provide a valuable source of inspiration from the kind of conversations people have already been having with ChatKJV. And in conclusion, I think, the birth of ChatKJV is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking ideas are born out of moments of idleness, curiosity, and willingness to explore the unknown. It's from a blunder in my name to a going to the flow, to experimenting an idea, sharing it on Twitter, going viral, most of those things were done at a very, very idle stage, but in a high curiosity environment. And I'd like to express my gratitude to AI Kenya for the opportunity to share the story of ChatKJV with you guys. It's been an incredible journey. There has been challenges, there has been growth, and ultimately the reward of creating a platform that has a positive impact on the lives of a countless number of users. And just in case you missed it, my name is Andrew Miracle. Do not forget the name. But yes, thank you.
We will not forget the name at all. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that. I'll now, lots of things to unpack from that. I think the GPB framework being one of them, and just exploring the unknown and just building and starting doing it and not wondering whether it will work or not. So thank you very much for that. So at this point, I'd like to invite questions, and how we'll do this. In the Zoom app, whether you're on the browser or on the application, there's a feature that allows you to raise your hand in case you have a question. So I'll invite the participants to raise their hands and ask any question they have. So who would like to go first? Okay, there are no questions. Okay. As I wait for people to raise their hands, Andrew, a question I had on my end, and maybe you can share this. We had previously discussed it, but how are you? So I think there's one question here. Is ChatKJV open source? I think you can take that, and then I'll ask my question. You can go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, yeah. So ChatKJV is not open source at the moment. we've not uncovered motivation for why it will be open source. Although we do have a couple other open source projects for TechMe. You can check TechMe out on GitHub and you'll see a lot of our open source projects.
Okay, and just as an addition to that, what's the approach around sustaining everything you're doing with ChatKJV? Are there plans to have, a paywall to allow users to access different features, or putting threshold on how many prompts they can send or how many questions they can send in a day and so on? What's your plan around that?
So one model that we found to be interesting is the WeTransfer model. I don't know if anyone has tried WeTransfer, but WeTransfer allows you to share files with a cap of 2 gigabytes for the files. And at that point, after 2 gigabytes, you have to get a pro subscription. But also, it's free, and you can easily share those links without having to sign up. It's something that is akin to how we want to approach the development, future development for ChatKJV. So if you already know WeTransfer, you'll be able to infer all the answers. If you don't know WeTransfer, it may be a very long explanation, but check out WeTransfer. And yes, WeTransfer has this feature where they place really, really amazingly curated ads on their share screen. And we think churches and religious organizations can benefit from that offering if we're able to provide them visibility from, inspirations and quotes like shareable ChatKJV snippets, etc.
Okay, and there's another question from Fred. So he's asking, what's the best way to start such a project? He's a data science enthusiast and is particularly interested in chatbot integration with dashboards, but he's kind of new to chatbot creation. Where can he begin as a learning start point?
Yeah, my follow-up question to him is, what languages does he know? Or what languages, frameworks, or tools does he know? Like if the question is specific to Fred, then RStudio and Python. Is that all?
Alt, I'm letting you ask the question, so I'm asking you to unmute. If you are able to, you can add or respond to the follow-up questions that Andrew is asking. If you're not able to, then you can just type. But Andrew is saying RStudio and Python for now.
Okay.
Andrew, are you there?
Okay, so yes, so if he's only familiar with it, so I'm going to encourage you to learn a bit more. For in the absence of most things, I think there are no-code chatbot tools that you can use. There is Bubble, there are Chatspell. So the first thing I'm going to advise you is, if that is only what you know, you might as well just explore no-code tools first before getting into code, because chatbot interfaces have a variety of requirements. There is the NLP interface. It's going to take the conversation and then convert it into an intent or an instruction that can be executed. Now, the execution of the instruction is another interface, right? And there is the interface for the client, which is like, the buttons, the input box, etc. So if you can't build out interfaces in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, I advise you use no-code tools that can allow you build the interface so that you can then use Python as a language to string together all of that information. As at yesterday, there was a platform that did catch my interest. The name of that platform is called Dust. So Dust allows you to build out chatbot workflows using any chatbot of your choice, but still with the ability to add code to your responses. So platforms like this will allow you to like put in your code and give you a link that you can use or you can run and interact with in your applications. So Dust is just one of those many platforms. But there's a platform called BibleGPT.org, and BibleGPT.org was built with Streamlit, and you can check out Streamlit. It's streamlit.io. Let me put it here. But Streamlit.io would allow you to build data apps, whether it's a chatbot, but using Python. And once you're done building, you can share that as a Streamlit app with anybody without having to worry about like the interface or anything, from sales models to whatever it is, deploy it with Streamlit, right? So I'll suggest if Python is your start, then Streamlit might be your go-to. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. You can also share. I'm trying to look for the Dust platform that you're talking about. So you can also just share a link in the chat. And I think Brian has a question, so I'll just unmute him so that he can ask a question. Brian, you can go ahead.
Hi, Andrew. So this is really great work. Thank you for presenting about this. So how did you manage beyond sharing your service on Twitter and other places? How did you managing communicating with people and like walking through people through the service, and especially whenever something didn't work into the user's expectation?
So now it's now that you're saying it, I'm thinking of it, because I just realized that I really didn't do a lot of that. The only thing that's changed in how we were building ChatKJV was the model parameters. And I think I shared this in the GPV framework. So what essentially happened was people were using it, but conversations were funny. But the beauty of going viral is that when people interact with the applications, they share screenshots with you. So that works to our advantage, because Twitter was just the place to resolve everything. Every other person that shared it outside of Twitter had to provide support to the individuals that they shared it with. And the GPV was the framework that we then used to consolidate all of the anomalies that we were seeing. So it's like, okay, this thing is saying things and doing things that are out of scripts. So we then had to create a framework for formulating the prompts. And that was essentially about the major thing we did to improve user experience across the application. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you did. Yeah, like using Twitter, that makes sense. Like sticking to that platform where it got popular. That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions from the audience as we close? Okay, Andrew, what I would ask is from the AI Kenya community and just the wider audience, what kind of support are you looking for at this stage? Like, what are your critical needs for ChatKJV as you proceed?
So this might sound like a spoiler, but we are taking the ChatKJV model and we are expanding it a bit to more business use cases so that ChatKJV would essentially be a use case on top of that. We experimented already doing ChatKitab, which is based on the Quran. But we also want to be able to provide, based on a lot of requests we've had, are people who want ChatKJV, but for their specific kind of business or need, etc. So we are building this framework that can allow us to provide this conversation bots based on different business needs. It's work in progress. Hopefully we can release something else with the general public in a week or two. And if we're able to do that, our goal is for ChatKJV being a use case of that product to essentially perpetually still remain funded by the profits from this other platform. When people ask me how to support, I'm like, there's a buy me a coffee link. You can buy me a coffee. And if you're an investor and you want to have a chat about ChatKJV or any of the exciting AI projects we are working on, please reach out to me, andrewmiracle.com, or hit me up on Twitter at Salsi, and I would love to have a chat. Yeah.
Great. To all the investors listening to this, please reach out to Andrew and have a small meeting.
Yeah, a small meeting.
Yes, so I think there are no further questions. That was a very good presentation. And you're seeing that there are not so many questions, meaning the audience really understood what you're trying to communicate. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your time and for sharing with us your journey and the learnings that you have picked as we have been working on this. We really appreciate it. And we always available as a community and as a wide tech ecosystem to help you with any different challenges you might be having, whether it's talent, investment, and so on. We'll always be available to connect you to the resources that we can lay our hands on. So at this particular time, as we close, just allow me. So Andrew, I've just stopped your screen sharing for now.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're interested in coming on board as a speaker, you can apply on the AI Kenya website, kenya.ai/mentorship. There's a brief form that you fill in, you indicate the topic you want to contribute and the type of contribution you want, the format, whether it would be a podcast, it would be a show and tell, it will be a training workshop, and so on. And that's it for today. I'd like to thank everyone for attending and asking questions and sharing ideas. We really appreciate it. We look forward to our next event, which would still be at close to the end of the month in May. So looking forward to hosting everyone. But in the moment, keep building, keep staying curious, and just start doing. Don't wait. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good night. Bye.